Hi and welcome to Whisky Shared. You're watching my review of Bunnahabhain 12-year-old. I'm Toby and you're watching Whisky Shared. Welcome to my review of Bunnahabhain 12-year-old. Bunnahabhain 12-year-old is a single malt Scotch whisky from the Isle of Islay, and it's non-chill filtered, it's natural colour and it's 46.3% ABV. It's predominantly aged in sherry casks and was originally launched in 1979, so it's almost as old as me. This particular whisky retails for around the £42 mark in the UK, and it's from the Distell group. Should we find out what it tastes like? On to the whisky. So before I start nosing and tasting, let's have a quick look at the colour. I'd say that's like a tawny colour. Let's start with the nose. Right, so for me, the first thing I get is quite an unpleasant, like herbal note. It's a little funky. It's, I don't know if it's to do with the sherry component, but it really has a slightly, almost vegetal note, and it's not very pleasant for my nose. But other than that, there is some chocolate and there is a little bit of sort of red fruits. But yeah, not much more. Let's move on to the palate. Yeah, so for me, that slight funkiness, and to be fair, I've not tried any other Bunnahabhain 12-year-old, so this is my first bottle of it. I don't know if that's batch variation or whether or not it's normally like this, or whether or not just I'm susceptible to those sorts of notes, but that funkiness, although it's not overly pleasant on the nose, it dissipates from the palate instantly. So obviously, as I'm taking a sip, I can almost breathe in that odd taste at the same time, but it does dissipate instantly. It hits my palate, so I'm not too bothered about that. Although I am surprised that I can't enjoy it as much on the nose as I do on the palate. Let's have another sip. Yeah, so the first thing I get with this is like sweet, rich sherry. It's a nice oily mouthfeel for me. There is also some chocolate, and it's like a creamy milk chocolate. Really is nice. And that fruitiness is dominant. It sort of lingers in the background. Let's have one final sip. Yeah, so I get like a nuttiness with this, which is really nice. And I also get like juicy raisins. It's quite jammy on the palate. And there's probably just a hint of ethanol. In terms of finish, I'd say it's quite long. There's lots of rich, dark soaked fruits. There's a little bit of dry wood, and there's a little bit of sort of spiciness that sort of lingers on the palate. In terms of value, well, as I said, this retails at around the sort of 42, maybe even £45, depending on the retailer in the UK. But you can often find it on sale for maybe £10 less, so £35, and if you're really lucky you can sometimes get it less than that. But I think around the sort of £40–42 mark, I think this is good value, especially as it's aged predominantly in sherry casks. It's obviously aged it has an age statement, 12 years old. It is obviously core range and has been part of the core range for a long time. It's non-chill filtered, natural colour. It's 46.3% ABV, so it's decent. But for me, would I buy another bottle of it again? I don't know. I think obviously part of the enjoyment of a whiskey is on the nose, not just the palate. And I think that slightly funkiness is slightly put me off from buying another bottle, but I'm hoping it's batch variation, or possibly even just this bottle, or unfortunately it could just be me, but potentially I'd be tempted to try it again. But I think I can enjoy this bottle though, either way. Obviously it's not as nice on the nose for me, but it is on the palate, so in terms of enjoyment it's still there, but it just doesn't have that sort of full experience because I can't enjoy it as much on the nose. Hopefully somebody out there can let me know if they get the same or they don't. I could be one of a kind, it could be this bottle. So let me know in the comments if you've tried this and what your thoughts are on this bottle. And yeah, let's find out if it's just me or not. Hopefully you enjoyed this, and I'll see you again soon. Sauncher.
I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, why not give it a like or a comment, and please consider subscribing for more videos like this.